To today's Mystic Hotline Q&A. My name's Fola, and yeah, I'll give it a moment for people to tune in. We're going to be talking about star seeds, alien, galactic, intergalactic beings, cosmic energies, all that stuff out there. So have an open mind. I think that kind of goes with everything I talk about on this channel. And if you're not getting that, well, I don't know what to say. But I have this lovely pyramid structure, and it was calling for us to just connect to whatever that energy is. Oh, if it's gonna do its lovely thing, there we go. So whatever energies of these galactic beings, cosmic star seeds, ancestors of the stars, whatever you may wish that's in our highest good to know and hear and experience today, just calling to those to really light the way. May we be the conduit of those messages, those energetic strands of data that come through, those codes. And may we just learn to trust where it is that we are being guided. So whatever that might mean for you, I'm gonna place that there. And yeah, hello Tahira. Hello Meredith, darling. Nice to have you all join in today. So if you do have questions, as always, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm going to do my best to answer all of them, and also just share a bit of some questions that I think are common questions people might have around this whole theme of star seeds and galactic beings. And yeah, this is going to take us around up to the hour. We're 7:30, I guess, Mountain Standard Time. And we'll see what other parts want to come through energetically, maybe a guided practice and so forth. But just start off, I just want to invite you, if you would like to show your support to the work that I do, to the channel, you can head over to that PayPal link and leave a donation. I really appreciate that. It supports me in continuing to do this work. And yeah, I would appreciate that. So that is linked there. It's also in the description if you feel called. I will be releasing a schedule for the events happening in October, probably tomorrow. So lots of cool things happening, free community calls, different events online, on Zoom, either live videos like this on YouTube, and also in the community membership. So if you want to join in on the Newman ritual, the energy healing and activation, specifically for star seeds, because that is going to be our theme for the month of October. We're getting really weird, you guys. It makes sense. It makes sense for us to do this. Hey, Robin, hello. Hello, Asa, hi. Yeah, and Tahira, you're back, hello. So this month of October seemed fitting. We have this interstellar comet, this three-eye atlas that's making its way closer towards Earth, towards the sun. There's conversations happening, at least on my feed, about disclosure, Congress holding meetings and whatever, hearing people's stories. At least I don't even know when that stuff's been happening. I feel like all these things have been slowly building up, maybe quickly building up over the past year or two. But as we come closer to this Halloween, Samhain, at the end of October, there is this concept of the thinning of the veil. And to me, that's kind of what happens when we talk about galactic beings, right? It's can we be open to something more beyond just this physical human existence? And so my question for you, before we start, if you feel like sharing, is do you believe in galactic beings, in aliens, extraterrestrials, other intelligent life existing in this universe outside of just Earth? Let me know where you sit with that, because I feel like it's way more common that people believe this than they talk about it. There's so much negative connotations around what it means to share about galactic stories or encounters. And yet it's so like pertinent to, I guess, even the story of humanity. Okay. So personally, I have definitely had some encounters. I was like, how much do I want to talk about this? Hello, Firaj. Hello. Meredith says, absolutely. Okay. Hello, Shwet. Hi. Yes, absolutely. I think most people have experienced something tied to galactic energies, and yet we don't talk about it just enough, or as enough as maybe we could be. Better Call Saul. Hi, Romeo. Cowboy. Robin says, yes, I believe that there's intelligent life and beings and persons outside of Earth, but I don't necessarily believe there are saviors we have to go within for that. Oh, yeah, okay. Because there is like a huge thought amongst some people that maybe there's some huge catastrophic event or something happening. And if Three Eye Atlas is tied to that, people are going to come save us, or these beings or whatever. Maybe that's, again, a whole victim mentality instead of us taking responsibility for our own Earth, our own experience on this planet. But personally, I've had some encounters. I'm not going to get into all the details of exactly what happened, but I've also experienced encounters that had physical proof, photographs taken, that showed to me, oh, okay, what I experienced might not have been like just in my head. Some of these experiences are like out of body, is how I would describe them, with what I believe were like gray aliens, which, yeah, whatever your thoughts are on that. Witnessing like different skies or movements in the night sky that I couldn't associate with like satellite movement or the Starlink system, or, you know, other sorts of lights that might show up in our night sky. And I've also had a pretty intense experience with galactic beings during a DMT journey. The one and only time I ever did or will probably do DMT. And the main like message that came through for me at that time was these galactic beings, whoever they are, have like always been there, always guiding humanity, supporting us, supporting those, especially those connected to this sort of consciousness. Because you have to be open to anything for the most part. So many of you might have had experiences as children, youth, where it didn't feel like you had a lot of control. And so what happens then is we tend to like shut that stuff out. And it's like the safer bet. I do believe that for the most part, these galactic beings are and can be like positive and supportive, because we have to remember, at least this is my view, that both light and dark are meant to support us with our evolution. So sometimes even like horrible things can happen to us, but it's meant to elevate us, you know? So just coming from that lens, let's have, I guess, an open mind here. Robin says, me too, I've had an experience with the grays. Interesting. Thanks for sharing. So personally, when it comes to like, you know, like galactic energy, there's also the starseed concept. And so we'll talk a bit about that. But personally, I would say I have this connection, whatever that means, ancestrally, because we kind of have like an ancestral galactic lineage, not just our blood lineage. And there's certain stars and certain constellations, planets that have like called to me, and that might be the case for you. So I'll cover a little bit about, you know, some of these starseed ancestral connections. I'm going to share with you ways you can maybe go about deepening that connection. And again, if you're feeling like there's like a resistance for you within this conversation, just greet that resistance. And this doesn't mean by the end you're going to be like, oh, I totally believe that there's some connection to the stars. That might not be your truth. That's okay. But I do think there's something here, because if we even think about many of the indigenous cultures, like the Dogon people of West Africa, Lots of different indigenous stories and creation myths are tied to this concept of coming from the stars. So there must be something here. For me, what really started my path, I guess, around this concept and recognizing the connection and influence maybe that these beings had was through like the ancient Sumerian myths and the idea that these gods came to for a specific mission to Earth and basically created the human race, enslaved the human race, and then wanted to, there were some gods like Enki wanting to completely like free humanity, give them the knowledge, give them the insight so that they could step out of that enslavement. And so reading those stories, learning about them, tying it into like the Christian beliefs, which is like a whole other level, that kind of was what sparked it for me. There's a really great book. I should have grabbed it. What's his name? I think it's called, what's it called? Can I see it? There Were Giants Upon the Earth. There Were Giants Upon the Earth. I think his name's like Zachariah something. Definitely a great book with some theory, stories, concepts there. I encourage you to check that out. Hello, BB. Thank you. So with that, what is a starseed? How does someone know if they are one? So this is just a theory. This is something that many like conscious spiritual people and sometimes some really weird people hold, that there's this idea that this human bloodline that we carry that leads us to actually being born here also have a galactic ancestral line. And so there's some souls that have come and like populated on Earth here now that feel this connection or have some ancestral connection to the stars, to the planets, to certain constellations. And how do you know, like if you are one? I just tell people, like, if you're crossing paths with one or someone who's proclaiming to be one, then you most likely are one. Okay. Like, I can't tell you how many times I just make friends with people that, yeah, it comes out, there's no conversation, especially at the beginning of my journey, specifically after that DMT experience. I came out of the DMT experience. There was a bunch of people there. It was like an outdoor gathering, like specifically for this. And then one individual showed up at like right as I got up. And that blew my mind. It totally blew my mind. One of my like dear friends who's like completely not from this planet. And that was what confirmed it for me. So if you're like kind of having conversations with people, feeling this deep connection with others, and maybe they too kind of connect to another planet or star, make to the starseed nature, there might be something there for you. If you feel drawn to the night sky, maybe you find like at night you just love staring at a particular constellation or one's like series of stars or planets, you may have a connection to that. Okay. So just something to know, like, if you are experiencing that, what I would encourage you to do is to go out at night, right? Hopefully it's a clear night, and use like one of those star mappings apps on your phone. There's like really great technology now where you literally just hold it up to the sky and it can like tell you what is being like shown in the night sky at what degree, etc. And you can find out then exactly, oh, okay, I've always, like my eyes, as soon as I go out at night, for years, my eyes just instantly go to those stars there, that pattern of stars. Like, what is that? You might be surprised what shows up. Do your research then, because there's lots of information online. I think it's important you use your discernment, what's true. Yeah, like how do I want to word this? I didn't really have a question or point about this, but I do think it's important. Maybe this is what makes me a little bit different than other people who talk about the starseed thing, is, it can really elevate you to another level of spirituality or consciousness. But what good is that if you are only living in the stars when you have been birthed here on Earth? You need to remain grounded. You need to remain connected to the earth because you are human. Like, unless some of you out there are literally watching from a spaceship or some other planet, maybe, I don't know, right? But I really want to just like, I guess, encourage you to recognize you can learn these things about yourself and make a connection to another galaxy, another star system, another galactic race. But if you are not doing your part here on humanity, on Earth with humanity, then it's kind of like, what's the point? You're going to just have another place where eventually you feel disconnected from. But with your intention to connect to your starseed family or ancestry, and just trust that by just kind of setting that prayer, that might be then the thing that shows up for you. Synchronistic paths crossing, information showing up online, the fact that you're even here now today, maybe something sparks some energy or feeling inside you. Follow those like nudges, but remain grounded as you go through this, please. Okay. Catching up on comments. Yes, Robin, Zachary Sitchin. Thank you. I could not see the name from you. Tahira says, so interesting. Yes, please subscribe and like. I believe since our souls are eternal, we have been everything and everywhere. I love that. That's kind of my theory about reincarnation too. It's like, no wonder so many people feel like they've been a particular, you know, important person in the past. It's like, because we're all one. God. Maybe some stars are evil. I wouldn't trust an alien. Yeah, BB, I hear what you're saying. And, you know, I didn't really go into listing any that are like negative. You know, there's some thoughts like the draconian starseed or the reptilian energies can have a tendency towards like harm. But I think it's like our interpretation of that shadow aspect. What is harm? What is power? How do we interpret power? And then how does someone show up in power? Because we could even throw it into like, you know, how Atlantis and the Lemurian stories, how things kind of shifted for those civilizations on Earth and how it could shift for us too. Not all humans are bad, right? But we all have the tendencies to be in that shadow energy. So from childhood, I've always loved looking up at the night sky and all the stars. Yes, so true. We incarnated at this time on Earth to have a human earthly experience. Okay. So however it is you want to connect, where do popular starseed types originate from? Do any of you have like a connection that you want to share here or multiple? For me, I would definitely say the Palladian energy is one that I would feel the most connected to. I've had people tell me the Arcturian connection, though personally I'm like, I don't really look much into that. Like, it's kind of like, okay. But the Palladian energy for sure. The Syrian and the Lyran or Lyran, I'm not sure how some people might pronounce that. Like, I would say that's probably more even for me. And then for me personally, the Lemurian connection, which I did like this Atlantean Reiki class long time ago, with like a fellow student friend, teacher of mine. And that's kind of her like focus is the Atlantean stories. And what came through specifically for me during that whole like process of learning and the meditations and attunements was that the Atlanteans came from the Lemurians, which came from the Palladians. Like I saw it very clearly. So it's just like this birthing of other races, birthing of the next civilization, the next level of consciousness and opportunity for evolution. So to me, those are very much tied, though I know like the concept of Lemuria is linked to Earth. Which star people are the kindest? Ooh, yeah. I mean, I feel like I would say one, but maybe some people would disagree. Let's talk a bit about some of them. I don't have all of them. You can like look this up. There's like so many, so many. But when I was like reading more to find some differentiation, I feel like the Orion Mintaka or Mintakan starseeds might be considered that. They're very empathic. They're like tied to the water. It's believed that the whales and the dolphins came from this planet. So if you really like water and being around water, just like that energy of like flow, there's something really caring and nurturing about that. Perhaps the Mintakan starseeds are the ones that would be the most kindest humans. But again, to me, the Palladians are very kind. They're very like matter of fact, though. So what do you define as kindness? Hello, Golden Lily. Hello. Meredith, darling, says, I'd like Sirius and Palladian, but I did my galactic astrology chart and it was mainly Lyrian. Oh, that's all the cat energy, right? Robin, I've always felt so connected to the Lemurians. Yeah. Well, and who's to say what the intersection of this is? I thought about that whole Galactic Federation, but I was like, I don't really feel like I know a whole lot or even want to hold on to that concept too much. Again, it's like putting so much energy on the external of this thing we cannot even really comprehend when we have something tangible here, like our government systems, our politics, like... though I trust that there are possibly other beings out there that want to support what we are doing here on Earth, whether or not they intercede on our behalf. I guess it depends what type of parent we think they are. Maybe the best parent would let us just blow ourselves up or like beat up our siblings and then be like, so what did you learn? But you can find information about these different traits of various starseed types. Just the main thing being that you are, as a human, as a soul, a multidimensional being. So you have this connection to something greater than just this human body. And I believe that these beings, especially when we feel a connection, there's certain traits or ideologies or certain energy codes or programs that we might feel most aligned with. And I mentioned a bit about the Mintakan starseeds, that those are based in Orion constellation. And it's actually a planet that is kind of like gone, is the understanding. But then there's other Orion starseeds and this connection specifically to that constellation. There's also the Arcturians, which I didn't realize this, but with Arcturians, there's like a heavy tie to the Egyptian or Kemetic, god or Neteru Thoth. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes more sense why people might say that about me, because that's definitely a Neteru deity that I feel heavily connected to. But the Arcturians would be considered great leaders and tuned into the mathematics, the sacred geometry and symbols. They're highly intelligent, which makes me wonder if I would be that. But I mean, I'm a little bit intelligent, not that highly intelligent. Connected to technologies, whatever you might identify as technologies. We have phones and computers and lights, but I think it would go beyond that. But one interesting part about these Arcturians apparently is that they're not the most connected to their emotions. So that could be a thing for you. Hello, Andrew. Hello. I was just thinking about you because of your post that I saw. Anyways, okay. I should probably look at the Lyrians more closely. Yes, for sure. I'd be curious there. All the cat love. The Palladians. That was kind of the last one. So, because I feel like I have the most experience with that ancestral connection. And so the Pleiades are like the seven sisters, this cluster of seven stars. You probably have seen them. To my understanding too, from a very indigenous background, or from the creation stories, that there's a lot of ties to different indigenous stories to the seven sisters. Some people believe that the seven sisters house the Akashic records, which is interesting. And yeah, like I mentioned, the way, I have experience with them, especially when I work within the energetic spaces. It'll be very clear when they show up. I don't always call on them to show up, but when they do, what I would say happens is like literally just psychic surgery. Like it'll like shift where then the person's on this like psychic bed, or like a surgery bed, and these beings are doing like, like a 3D printer. This is how I would identify it. I'd be curious if anyone else has ever experienced it, but it's like a 3D printer prints like the layers, like, it's going through layer, layer, layer. That's kind of what they do. It's like they're literally skimming and altering. Sometimes they will actually reprint organs when there's something going on for someone. Because, like our energetic centers, the chakras, they are all tied to physical glands and different parts of our body. And energy can get kind of trapped or stagnant, blocked in our organs, in our body. And so they're moving at like an energetic level, but it also influences the physical level and all the other aspects like mental, emotional, spiritual. So that's just how I would identify. It's definitely like a different experience. Maybe you've had some of these sorts of encounters with the different beings from whatever starseed nation you feel connected to. Feel free to let me know in the comments. I'd be curious to hear it, because to me, the Palladians definitely are like these healers and can really support you with whatever might be going on with your health. Whether or not you're connected to them, maybe you just call upon them to show you, to support you, okay? Because it's not like you're going to have you don't need to have a direct connection in order to receive help from or guidance from any guide. So be open to that. So one main thing I would say about the whole starseed nature is that most starseeds often feel like outsiders. Or they're kind of like longing for home. For a period of my life, it was like, seriously, all these people that I was meeting, people I would call like dear friends, and we like intersect with each other just at very particular moments. They showed up in my life, and they were like, admittedly spoke about the connection they had to Starseed, galactic ancestry, and primarily this feeling of wanting to go home. Some to the point of like actually like really depressed, suicidal, which can sometimes happen for some starseeds. I know what that feels like. I know what that feels like to long for a sense of belonging, not feel like this is really the place. And I think more and more children, more and more souls are being birthed into this world right now where they are feeling that. We wonder why we have a rise in like suicide rates, etc. I kind of actually believe, this is my theory, former psych nurse talking about this stuff. It's like, I actually think it's like them wanting to return back. For some, it is maybe their time to go back. But for majority, it's just like the feeling to go back, and this reality is just not working for them. And so I think that's why it's important that we like band together and support each other and really connect with each other, especially if you're feeling the sense of like not being home. And, I wondered for a long time, like, why is it like, because I actually had this done in like an Akashic Records. I'm like, why do people come? And like, what is this? And it was the message really in that reading, and what I've heard from other people who've like just shared this with me. It's like, I actually believe that I've been here for quite a while, unfortunately, and have experienced this stuff many, many times. And that's why I like link up with others that maybe it's like their first time on this planet or whatever the case might be. So that might be something for you. How many times or lifetimes have you been here, right? And you've experienced this human life, and you're here because you're supposed to like basically guide other people who are just showing up here for the first time or moving through whatever they're going through. I just want to like invite you to recognize that that might be something for you. Doesn't mean you have to carry the weight of the world or like, you still go through your own evolution, but I definitely feel like there's something there. So Okay. Meredith says, thank you. I knew about Mintaka and dolphins, but not Lyrians and cats. Now I'm like, Lyrian pride. Yeah, totally. Every time you're, yeah, cats love you. So just visiting. Hello, dragon. Hello. Interesting that you would show up. We're talking about starseeds and aliens and intergalactic beings. So all that fun stuff. Answering questions too, which I should say again, if anyone has questions, feel free to leave them in the chat. If you'd like to donate, there's a donation link there. I appreciate that. And it just supports me in continuing to do this. So what else did I want to say? With this like feeling or longing to return home, sometimes too, like I mentioned about the Mintakans, like that starseed planetary system is like, it was like destroyed apparently, right? Like there's a feeling like, oh, I can't go back, but I want to go back. And I feel like, you know, all the ones I loved were gone. I definitely feel this with like the Lemurian energy. A lot of people with Atlantic or Atlantis connections would talk about that as well. So there's this longing to return. And, you know, unfortunately, this human existence is very different than maybe what some of your galactic connections are, you know, because they're like vibrating at a very high conscious state. So one way I would explain this is, you know, and it doesn't mean you're necessarily starseed. There's lots of humans, I think, that can just feel like, why do we do the things that we do? But like for me, holidays and certain special occasion protocols just like don't make sense to me. And for like pretty much my whole life, that's been an issue, you know, where it's like, oh, I didn't get a gift for a person because like sometimes I'm just like, oh, I don't know, like just because it's someone's birthday or Christmas, like I just don't get these occasions that people put up on a pedestal. And so to me, that's a very starseedy thing. Maybe just like, you know, that whole living in the 4D, 5D reality versus 3D, I don't know what I think about that. It's just about natural evolution, right? We're going to constantly like evolve and shift into like more expansive energy. And to me, getting so tied up on like social events and stuff just doesn't make sense. But some people just really need that, and that's okay. But I feel like if that's something that you struggle with, then there might be something else going on for you that could be galactic in nature. I've always felt like an outsider, the oddball out, so different. So now I am a loner, Robin says. I hear that. You know, and it's like sometimes our energy is needed to be in particular places openly. And other times I think we're just meant to be in our own like bubble. And our presence is literally these like beams of light. We're all these beams of light all over the place, creating and shifting and whatever it's needing, I guess, at that point. So, if you ever see an alien in their earthly form, they are the weakest. Yeah, okay. Interesting. People are addicted to socializing. Yeah. Well, yeah. And I think that's kind of the next point I wanted to talk a little bit about is like, how do you start to connect with your cosmic origins, your purpose here on Earth, kind of like tied to that, like, why are you here, right? This evolution, this experience of the earthly realm. This is a very unique experience, I would say, being on Earth, having things tangible. The goddess that created this space, the technology that exists here. And so connecting to the remembering of why you're here starts again with that intention and asking these star beings, your galactic family, to just show you. Honor them. I don't know, whatever that means. Like I have a piece of art from a good friend of mine. She made it specifically. It's like an image of, I should have brought it actually. Would have made sense. It's on some of my older videos when I first kind of started on YouTube. But it was like her way of sharing and beautifying the grays because she believes that they're really misunderstood. And they're not like these evil, bad things that most people would say. They're actually like the way I understood what she said, they're like vehicles for these higher level conscious beings that they just, like you're saying, kind of dragon. They like, it requires a lot for them to come here, and it could impact them a lot. So they send almost like a drone in another body to come and interact. And yeah, anyways, so her creating that piece of art was a way of beautifying it, honoring it, representing it, and like also just putting it into reality for her. And maybe I'll take a picture of it and share it. It's just a beautiful piece. But you can ask, spend time under the stars, connect with them, speak to them, right? Meditate, just create this space. Like you're saying, Dragon, people like to just socialize all the time. We're always constantly keeping ourselves busy with information and videos and all the things. But it's like, what if you just sit and make a direct connection? There's an app out there called CE5, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, I believe. It's developed by like a scientist guy. You've probably seen him. He talks a lot about this stuff. I definitely recommend that app. Or if you can, join people who are using that meditation to make connections. I've hosted some events where we do this as a group. It's usually in a group, but you can do it on your own as well. I can't remember what the price is of the app. It's like a one-time payment. At least that's what I understand. And it like is these series of steps to make connections to the galactic energies, to like kind of like interact and call upon them. And I wonder if we could totally do this on Zoom now that I'm talking about it. This might actually be something else that happens in October, because I've never done it on Zoom. It's kind of better if we're outside. But I can just say, what the heck is that? Weird. I don't know if there's mosquito starseed, but that's just what's flying around in my house for some reason. If I kill it, you guys, I'm sorry, but I have a rule: if there's a bug in my house and it doesn't leave me alone, then it knows it's gonna die. Or if I can't catch it and like let it out, it probably is an alien dragon. But anyways, this meditation like really will open things, and when we've done it, people have like seen things and flying objects and all sorts of weird encounters. So I definitely recommend it. CE5. Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, I think, is what the meditation app or whatever is called. Another thing I would say, and this is kind of where I was like, what should we talk about this month of October? Like, what's the theme? Initially, I thought like shadow and stuff, but then as I was thinking and seeing all this stuff with this 3-eye Atlas comet, I was like, oh no, like there's alien stuff happening. I can feel, and I'm witnessing myself being in this connection to something otherworldly. And I've noticed my like light language, as what I would just call it, that glossolalia, speaking in tongues, however you want to identify it, that's been like showing up more. Where like just things will just want to come out of my mouth. And so I have a video about like language. I actually haven't watched that video in a long time. I was like, I should probably like revisit that and see what aligns with me still or not. Because to me, what light language is, whether it's physical words coming out of the mouth or sounds or intonations vibrated out through mouth or throat, it can also be with like hands and movement of body, because everything is just like this energetic strand, right? Or code. And so there's something about practicing that, allowing yourself to express it, as silly as it might seem. If it's so uncomfortable for you, do it in your own private space. No one ever has to know, but I would encourage you to explore that and see what shows up. I wasn't really planning on talking a lot about like light language today, but my understanding is some different people will channel these vibrations through their hands or voice or sound. And they state that it comes from sometimes particular galactic beings that they work with, that they channel, and it can have healing potential. And like personally in my healing sessions with clients, that's what happens. So like stuff happens, energy moves. What I've learned is to not hold it back. Sometimes the interpretations, what I would identify as interpretations, come through in the English, like it'll be in my head as I'm speaking, whatever's coming out. But I do think that this can help connect you deeper and maybe just put you in this place of like, how weird can I get? Because like, if we're not willing to be open-minded, then like, why would anything make itself known to us, right? Meredith, I went to an event over 3 nights with the CE5 guy. Okay, yeah, Dr. Stephen Greer, thank you. Oh, I wonder how that was. So fascinating. Yes, October and November, powerful months for dark energy. And yeah, November is going to be about shadow because that makes more sense. And it's Scorpio and all that fun stuff. So, yeah. Okay. So I think those are some ways you can connect. And also with that, you start to experience more of like, okay, what am I bringing into the world here? How is my energy a contribution? And can you trust that your connection to these galactic beings can be that? So I mentioned, the worry about not belonging or the sense of not belonging, some other challenges like that starseeds face again is just maintaining the daily life, the grind, feeling it like hard to be in the routine. I mean, there can be lots of different reasons for this, obviously, but yeah, just like seems like societal expectations can be a real challenge. For some people, they are really, really getting intense downloads from galactic beings. And I guess for myself, it actually happened when I got that particular piece of art. That's when things really started to like open for me. And I had like out of body experiences, physical like UFO interactions, and alien interactions in bedrooms. And it was like very, very overwhelming. So with that, like if you were experiencing something like that, I basically just was like, had a conversation like, hey, you know what? I am curious and I am so hopeful that one day I can like really be more open to this conversation, this communication. But like right now, that's not where I'm at. I was like, there's things that I just need to like have a bit more groundedness with. So you are allowed to set the rules, I believe. So just intend for that. Same with when we work with entities, right? Like we're allowed to have opening hours, we call it in Access Consciousness. Like you can say you can't come except between like, 10 and 12 on weekdays. Let things like that guide you. Otherwise, I think it can be that it starts to take up so much of your time and power and energy. And that's where it can be very draining. And if there's something more going on and you just can't seem to like shake that, I would invite you reach out. Like I work with people one-on-one, even if you're just wanting like mentorship and guidance within any of this, but like the energy healing, cutting cords, maybe there's some like past life stuff and contracts that need to be cleared. Like this is stuff that we can work together with one-on-one. So there's links in the description on how to do that. And yeah, find someone that can support you with that. Because I do think sometimes that's necessary. I just had a lovely swapping session with a friend of mine who does Akashic records. And so like I ran her access bars and then she did an Akashic record reading for me. And it was some stuff that had been coming up over the past like week. And so it was very timely and it confirmed a lot of stuff, like actually alien related, which was very interesting. Whoa, hi, Tigerly, long time. Hello. Yeah, cool. So this concept of like doing this work, doing the healing, exploring, using other people to help support you with guidance because you're not alone. That I think can really help shift energy. And that session with her, like just shed light on so much for me that it's like, well, I mean, I guess I could have gone into my own books of life, but like, it's different. It's different when someone hold space for you, especially when it can be such like a intense, because and actually the past lifetime I asked her to go into is one that I have explored within shamanic journeys before. It was like a dark past lifetime. That was part of the training that we had to do. And it was horrific. It was horrific for me. I thought I was like drowned. Like I literally felt like I was drowning because that's what happened in the past life. And I was just like, I don't really want to have to go through that. It's just not very comfortable. So her going in and like not being so attached to the experience shed light even further yesterday for me, which was really cool, actually. I didn't really realize where it had all tied. And then there were alien sort of galactic connections there that have since been cleared. So I find it fitting we're talking about this today. Okay, so let's move forward. If there's no other questions, or if you have questions you want to share it in the comments, please do. I have a few more things I want to talk about. So as humanity evolves, will more people awaken to the awareness of being starseeds or galactic beings? Yes, I think so. And, I think it's timely then we bring in this concept of this interstellar object, this comet, three-eye atlas. And the idea that if you're not familiar with what this is, I guess maybe I'll just give a bit of backstory. I believe it was in June or July of this year, astronomers started to witness in the sky this comet, this interstellar object. They've named it Three-Eye Atlas. It was moving like in a particular pattern, I guess you could say. And there have been two other comets, kind of similar in a sense, that showed up just like they've never been seen before. And this has happened, I think, in the last 3 to 5 years. But this one in particular is really kind of like stunning scientists just because of let's get into it, like the different gases or energies that are being emitted from it. I think it's like nitrite specifically, nickel, because usually it's nickel and iron, but they're saying it's only nickel that they're seeing, which kind of makes them wonder, like, what is this thing showing up? It's emitting like carbon dioxide, I believe, in like large quantities as well. And the way that it's been moving as it's come closer, and I think just recently, like the end of September, it's gotten to its closest point in Mars. They've been picking up on like different like energetic bursts of light, I guess we could say, coming from it, which, of course, some people are like, oh, it's because it's dropping off alien spaceships and all sorts of things. But it definitely is not acting in the same way that a regular comet would. So it's making its way closer towards the sun, towards the Earth. It's passing just now by Mars by, I think it's like the 19th or 29th or something of October. It's going to be at like this, what's it called? I wrote this down, you guys. I want to read it. Make sure I'm giving you the right. Yeah. Okay. So it's going to be at its closest point to the sun, perihelion, on October 29th of this year. So what's happening during that point too is, if I can use this plate, say this is the sun and like I'm Earth, I guess right now. The moon's going to be like right in front of us. We'll have a new moon. And this comet's going to be like coming like here. And on the 29th of October, it's literally going to be right here, not visible to us from Earth. And it's going to be the closest to the sun. And then it's supposed to make its way again like this. And then by the 19th of December, the Earth, me, I guess, will have come up closer. And that Three-Eye Atlas will be like close, will be at the closest point. So on the 19th of December of this year, if nothing changes with its movement. I'm not an astrologist. I'm not an astronomer, astrophysicist, astronaut or whatever. I'm just going from things I've read and heard online, okay? But I find it fascinating that December 19th of this year will be the closest point between this three-eye atlas and Earth. Because what happened, what's important about the 20th, 21st, 19th day in December? I feel like anybody have their hand up that wants to answer the question? It's the way it moves around the sun. It's not like normal asteroid, more like a vehicle. Yeah. Hi, I3 butterfly. Yes, Tiggerly, the solstice. So the winter solstice happens at that point. But then I was just thinking, I was like, like why like this year? Like why this year, 2025? And I was like, wait a minute, what happened like 13 years ago? Oh, it's your birthday. Interesting. It's funny that you're here. But like what happened 13 years ago around that same time? Isn't it 21st of December, 2012? That was considered the end of the Mayan calendar. And I specifically remember that time because this was kind of before any of my like spiritual awakening, but I was so adamant that we had to have like a end of the world party. And I'm not saying the world is ending here, you guys, but I just remember being like, oh, the calendar year, this calendar is ending. Like, this is an important time. I just felt something. And so we had people over at our house, and it like the party got just completely messed up because the pipes burst water, literally just everywhere. Our whole apartment was flooded. Like, it was such a bizarre experience. But so 2012, at that point in December, is exactly 13 years ago. And I was like, well, you know me, my number's 13. That's like a death change cycle. I haven't really heard anyone talk about this. So like, this is just my view. But, 13, death, the death card, tarot, Scorpio, the mysteries of all this, the underlying truths, the shadow we were talking about. There's so much here that it's like, what is that going to mean? And again, death is not about this physical death of our bodies. I'm not at all saying that. I do not feel like any of that stuff will be the case. Like, just like with the pandemic, right? It's like, it's happening at a physical level, but it's at a different like consciousness, spiritual level too. Those things are not separate. Okay. And so it's like, what is here that this ending? What is it? It's like a human consciousness. There's a lot of different astrological theories, astrological, about this up-leveling of humanity, like a new humanity with this comet, interstellar object making its way here. But so I'm just putting it out there. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm kind of curious. What will be shifting? Like I mentioned, literally, you guys, yesterday, I had this thing removed from me that was like galactically connected. And now I'm like talking about these things. I just find it like interesting. All this stuff's happening. The light language, vibrations, dreams have been interesting lately. I don't know about you, but like I'm definitely feeling the Mars energy. And it's funny how like this comet's by Mars, but I like don't usually dream about like people getting chased with weapons or fighting and discord, but it's been like happening a lot this past like week. So your dreams are something to be aware of, recognizing the synchronicities, being aware of the manifestations and how they're operating and showing up for you. Seeing how your psychic abilities or gifts, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, your healing abilities, whatever, how that stuff starts to shift or expand. I would just say, be aware, keep track of this, journal about it, don't doubt it. Because if we're coming into, as astrology works, it's about like looking at the themes of different planets or zodiac signs or comets like Chiron, things like this, and how they have a certain archetypal theme in our life. Like I mentioned, Mars being like war or aggression, but also sometimes fertility, right? Venus about love and beauty and art. Like, there's these different qualities to these different planets, these different star beings. They have an archetypal energy that can influence us. And when they are in certain alignment or non-alignment with where we are on Earth, with our personal birth charts, then it starts to show up in our life in a different way, okay? And so I would not be surprised by the end of this year, more and more people become aware of their connections to the stars, to galactic beings, receive messages, start to do more of the internal work, as I like to call it, that evolution of our consciousness that we actually do have to put time and effort into. It doesn't just happen. It requires a commitment from ourselves, a dedication to do that. And that's why I offer, support to people to have a space to do that. All that information's in the links below in the description. So you can check that out if you want. The world will end on Friday. No one knows the date. Well, I'm not sure about that, Dragon. That you can believe whatever you want. Thanks for being here, BB Moose. I'm a very interesting person. Without effort, there is no reward. Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that for the most part. Okay, so whatever this means to you, in what ways might society start to change when the starseed knowledge becomes more mainstream? Well, I mentioned how the Pleiadians are so powerful with healing. I like faster quantum healing modalities, telepathic communications, literally superpowers. The sky is the limit. Who knows what that's going to look like? I guess maybe the better question is what will not happen? What limitations? Because I don't think those will even exist anymore. But with that being said, when we develop these abilities, these gifts, it's important that we tune into the shadow aspects, do the shadow work around. Oh, I have more power. What does that mean? Because I had a huge insight, you guys, just recently. I kept coming across all these films and video portrayals of witches being burned and all this stuff. And that's something that's always been in my mind. I've been to Salem. That was a very healing experience for me. And what I realized the other day with the conversation with someone was oh my gosh, I've just been so hyper focused on being the person who was burnt at the stake or, outcasted by society. But I've never put myself into the shoes of the perpetrator of those crimes, And for sure, I'm oh, I would totally be the person who's kill her, she's a witch. And probably the priest Christian dogmatic person that was this is why we know this person is evil or demonic. I could totally see that because this is the dynamic of power. And when that realization hit me, I was just oh my gosh, no wonder it keeps showing up. Because I just feel why do I keep seeing this? I get it. But I asked the girl, why is it showing up? What do I need to know about this? And there it was. It came in this epitome. Oh my gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? Epiphany. There we go. So I just speak that because I think it's important we do the shadow work too. Put ourselves into other people's shoes. And even with all the stuff going on in the world right now, how can we just trust that whatever's happening with this 3-eye atlas, with our personal connections to galactic beings, to our starseed nature, how can we take what's showing up, take what's hidden inside us and develop it in a way that adds to and contributes to the consciousness of our planet and our universe. So with that, I think that's all I have to say. It's an hour pretty much exact, so I don't think I'm going to do any practice here. I may make another video where we tune into some of this galactic energy. So I would invite you to subscribe, hit the subscribe button. It's right there. You can hit join. That should also be right there. That will get you into the membership portal. I host all sorts of members only content, weekly card readings, energy healings. This month of October will be an activation for the starseed nature. And there's also new moon rituals and other teachings on the occult, esoterica, magic, things that I think really are about the leveling of our consciousness, leveling up, and something that can support you with really diving deep into any of these conversations that we've been having today. So otherwise, if you can't join in, I think it's like the price of a coffee. And I recognize right now, like financially, things have been tight for people. I've talked about this lots. We're shifting. We're shifting from some previous consciousness. That's why I think this stuff is showing up in our tangible reality. So if like even that like $4.99 or whatever for the like first tier membership doesn't work, just hit subscribe and take part. I also have a free community call, the Alchemy Collective, happening on October 16th. I got to make my list here. Actually, I got to just read off this so I'm not forgetting anything. So Thursday, the 16th, we're going to gather online again. I've been hosting these monthly. It gives you a chance to come in, witness, or also possibly take part in hot seat mentorship, where I get to do the things that I do, support you, and we shift the energy as a collective by hearing one or two people's personal experiences and witnessing them as they go through the healing. So this goes beyond the spiritual fluff, the surface level healing. If you're just ready to really like shift the energy in your life and start to walk in more sense of like empowerment and purpose, and yeah, that's the place to be. You can sign up. Again, it's free. The link's in the description. And then I also have a Reiki event happening on the 10th of October. This is a Friday event. It's at two different times, 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. Mountain Standard. You can come to one, you can come to both times. It's just open for all light workers, shadow workers, star seeds, healers, Reiki practitioners, whoever. I just felt like this is a way for us to come together, embrace peace, send light and love and wellness to the world and to ourselves. So it'd be great to have you tune in, whether you know how to do Reiki or not or whatever, just come and be part, because again, your energy is important. So you can sign up through the link in, I think, I don't know if it's in the description. I'll add it. Might not be there yet. And then, yeah, I think that's all I have to talk about. I mentioned the new moon rituals and the members' energy healing. Those will happen like later in the month, so there's still lots of time. So all of that fun stuff. Let me just catch up with the comments. Yes, the witch phenomenon is growing. I think most people will be eating burgers and then we'll say, "What's up, Doc?" Hello, Ivram. Thank you. Tigger Lee, it was good to see you. Yes, you too. See you. Each time I meditate, I hit blocks, dark blocks of energy. Yeah, I'd be curious what that is, Dragon, if you ever want to explore it. I definitely just invite you to ask your guides, ask the light to show you. And like the word that actually was kind of coming to me was the Ein Sof, with what you just said. So in the Kabbalistic tradition, that's like the infinite, no end energy that created everything. So there's, it's funny. It's like the shadow work stuff. When we go more into the dark, when we go more into that, like, darkness, that shadow, there's actually light there, because that's I saw, like, everything starts from somewhere. So I'm just speaking that to you. Maybe in your next meditation, can you go into the dark? Yes, Meredith, it'll be great to have you. I guess we'll chat. Miss Robin, thanks for being here. Yes, Dragon, thank you. Okay, well, I think that's it. I'm going to go and do some other things now, but thank you all for being here, sending you so much light, so much love, so much galactic energy and wisdom of this pyramid, wisdom of the Palladians and the galactic guides that wish to be with you. Just breathing that in. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Until the next time, everyone. Bye, Andrew. Bye.